Hi, viewers. Thank you for joining us. Today we have a very exciting guest. This is Dr. Ehi, and is here to share with us on some of the initiatives that OSHAfrica is implementing in order to improve safety in Africa. Dr. Ehi is an accomplished safety expert, safety consultant who has done so much on the continent and beyond. He'll be able to tell us a bit about himself. In this interview, we'll look at OSHAfrica, how it started, and the membership, how you can join as a member. And we also look at how safety is in Africa across the different countries. So without further ado, allow me to welcome Dr. Ehi. Welcome, Doc.
Good morning, Mark. Thank you so much for inviting me. It feels so good to be here. Thanks for the great job you're doing, within the media space in OSH in Africa.
Thank you so much. We are so excited and so delighted to have you on our show. And we look forward to so much to learn a lot from you. You are such an inspiration to a lot of us. We do follow your footsteps. So keep on the good work.
Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you so much. For those who are seeing you for the very first time, tell us a bit about yourself.
Okay, my name is Ehi Iden. I'm an occupational health and safety management consultant. And I think at this point, I should start letting people know where I'm coming from because lately somebody took me up on this really. My first degree is really in mass communication. It means I have a background in media, and I also have a professional qualification in public relations. In the early days of my career, and to a great extent, this has inspired what I do in workplace health and safety. I veered into health and safety many years ago, about 20 years now, 22 years now, as a result of me getting to work in the hospital. And that was where I had my first contact or stint with health and safety. I had my training in the med safety beginning of my career, having medical safety and health and safety in healthcare environment. I went for that to do professional qualifications in occupational health and safety management. I currently have a master's degree in occupational health and safety management. I also have a doctorate by research in health and safety management, focusing on employees' workplace health, well-being and promotion. So, to a great extent, that's who I am. I own a company here in Nigeria called Occupational Health and Safety Managers. That's over a decade old. It's a health and safety management consulting company that I set up in 2012. I also act as the head of faculty at OSHAfrica, which I also set up during COVID to look at the paucity in training and build capacity in occupational and safety knowledge across not just Africa, other countries with the low and medium. In this organization called OSHAfrica, we train for competencies. So we have trained over 150 across over close to 30 countries. So this is what we do here. And again, I'm also the president of OSHAfrica, which of course I was instrumental to founding. Over 7 years ago now. So summarily, that's why.
Well, that's a great track record and a lot of achievements, not just academically, but also through the organization that you lead. Someone might be wondering what motivated you to switch to safety from mass communication.
Okay, it was just a coincidence. Sometimes God, every man is a spiritual being, and the spiritual head of every man is God. It was never in my dream to even work in the healthcare sector, let alone even working within the space of occupational and safety. While I finished school, I was looking for a job. The only job I got was in the hospital, and it wasn't even in the list of what I was looking for. And while I was working in the hospital as a hospital administrator and health and safety coordinator. And one of the companies we worked with required somebody to be custodian of health and safety components of the contract. And this was a multinational company. And everyone was not interested. So I volunteered. So my coming into health and safety was through that volunteering responsibility that I put up around 1998 or thereabout. And, to a great extent, that was what inspired me, and that was what brought me up into safety. And the moment my name was submitted to the company, the very first training I had was given to me by the company. As a matter of fact, there's no need to shy away. That company is Shell Petroleum Development Company. So the very first training that was given to me, health and safety, was given to me by Shell Petroleum Development Company. And from there, I realized this seems a very great area that I would like to focus on. So I started reading further after all they taught me. I started reading further and I was trying to see what's really in this. And there were no enough institutions to certify you then. So until internet came, I started looking at where I could do courses online, and that was how I started. So when I started, I just couldn't stop. I just realized that every day I fall in love with health and safety. Health and safety is like my second wife.
Indeed, and your passion for safety is so clear to everyone. You are so energetic, so passionate about safety. And what's your advice and encouragement to health and safety professionals who probably feel discouraged when they look at this profession? They feel as though there are no opportunities. Are there opportunities in this career?
Opportunities abound. It depends on what you're looking for. And one of the things I always tell younger professionals, if you are looking for a place where you can cash out overnight, it's not in health and safety. Health and safety does not allow you to cash out overnight, but it creates an opportunity and an enabling environment for you to create value. The truth is that you can't really place monetary figures to the value that you create every day. Every person that is able to come to work every day and leaves at the end of every day's work without an accident, without being mutilated, without injuries, and able to return back to their families at the end of the day. To a great extent, health and safety person makes a very vital contribution. So this should be your motivation, that people that come to work with me, I contribute to their coming in safely and living safely at the end of every day's work. So it's not just about what you pay, what's your remuneration. In the opportunities that are available, yes, opportunities abound. Now we are beginning to see a few countries taking health and safety seriously. Policies and initiatives start coming. So the more we have this and the more we get government, fully people are able to for safety professionals is going to grow. And now we further saw what COVID-19 pushed us into, making us know that health and safety, occupational health and safety professionals are needed. Across diverse skills, and we should hold on to this. But before then, you should get trained, know what you are doing, and be good at your job.
Oh, thank you so much. And when we look at Africa, try to paint for us a picture. You have moved extensively in Africa, and you have members across Africa. How is safety on the continent?
I would say, as of today, we can say occupational safety is getting some level of prominence and growing within the African continent. Before OSHAfrica was founded, we struggled. We didn't even know who was doing what in Africa. But right now, we can see that as countries are beginning, though it's not going at the speed at which we are happy about, at which, or the speed at which we expected. But you can see, development across different countries at different sub-regions. When you take Southern Africa as a clear example, Southern African sub-region has grown, relatively well when it comes to occupational health and safety practice when compared to other sub-regions as North Africa, West Africa, East, and even Central Africa. So we need more presence of occupational safety within this all the countries and all the sub-regions. But this cannot really happen without countries first having committing to themselves, committing to health and safety, and having clear occupational health and safety legislations. When there are no legislations or regulations to drive occupational health and safety at country level, it becomes so difficult. So one of the things we do in OSHAfrica is also advocating to member countries. I mean, to see how we can influence or influence our policymakers, to see our legislators, to see how they can at least for countries that don't have health and safety legislation at all, how they can institute enabling health and safety legislation for those who have and they feel what they have is not sufficient, is outdated, how they can also improve the existing instruments and tools guiding occupational safety within those countries. But it's a collective responsibility that everybody must move at the same speed, and no man must be left out. Gradually, it's growing, but we need to see more results.
Indeed, it's a collective responsibility. Each one of us has to play a role. And coming to OSHAfrica, for those who are hearing this for the first time, what is OSHAfrica and how did it start?
OSHAfrica is actually Occupational Safety and Health Africa Foundation. OSHAfrica is a child that was given birth to out of necessity. I'll go back memory lane. My first World Congress I attended was the World Congress that was held in Frankfurt. That was 2016 or 15 or so. So that was the first World Congress I attended in Frankfurt. And one of the things that we saw that was so shocking at that conference was we saw data, different regions, different countries being represented with data. I mean, in different presentations that were being made by scholars that were in that conference. But what we saw is that in most of the presentations, either we see question mark in Africa, they say, oh, there are no data. Some say there are no enough data. Some just throw figures in, and those figures, we are not sure how those figures were scooped, if it really represents, I mean, who we really are as a people. But you can't blame those people, because when you don't have data, you give people the opportunity to fill in the gap. So, and that was what was happening. So why that happened severally, I personally got worried. A number of us who came from Africa that were in that conference, I approached them, I told them, I think this is not right. Whatever we see that is being shown in the clear sense of what Africa, the picture of health and safety really is in Africa. So that was where OSHAfrica could have started. But most of the people I spoke to didn't seem to understand what I was driving at. And most of them that understood didn't have the boldness, the passion, or the audacity for us to take that step together. So we came back to Nigeria, to our different countries. Everybody forgot. So the next year following was going to be the ICO conference, which was going to be held in Seoul in South Korea. So we're all at that conference in South Korea. And again, what happened in Frankfurt happened again in South Korea. And I was happy that a number of us that were in that I had somebody who also saw what I saw in Frankfurt and who shared the same passion. And that person, I will never forget her. That is Dr. Miha Ray Rajput. She is a Kenyan Indian who is a lecturer in Cambridge University, and she was sharing the same passion I also was sharing. And the moment we met and able to talk to each other, there was an ignition of, that concern. So what we did, Miha and I did, started looking for every African person that attended that conference. What we did, whether you are black, anywhere you are a person with black color, wherever you are, we drag you. Some will tell us, no, I'm not from Africa, I'm from Haiti. But what we did eventually is that we were able to get all the Africans together in one room, one of the lunchtime. We sacrificed our lunch to meet. We share a clear concern that we are not being represented properly. There was a need for us to act on the wrongs, or the need for us to act and do something really fast so that we can have data that is good enough to represent us. In that meeting, we have 2 senators from Kenya who were also there to cheer us up and to support this goal. But the truth is that meeting again almost ended in a fight. It didn't end well, but what I was able to do was that I got names of about 21 people who were in that meeting was made up of 21 persons from Africa. I got their names, their email addresses, their phone numbers. So when we got back to Africa, I started reaching out to them. Let's refer to the discussion that we'll try to start in in Seoul. I intend to start a body that will encompass all the Africa. Let's come into the WhatsApp group so we can start talking about Africa. Let's know what each person is doing. Some said we're not interested. A few persons said they were interested. So that WhatsApp group started with about 6 members. I kept growing the WhatsApp group. I kept growing until we're able to grow to about 20, 30. Every conference I go to, I sell OSHAfrica. So we're able to grow to 10, 20, 30, 60. When we got to 100, I mean, that was a landmark for me. And I told them, now that we've reached about 100 people, I think there is need to make this thing, to bring it to a legal status. So, and I shared the idea with everybody. Can we have register this body? Yeah, we'll say, yes, fine. So the name OSHAfrica, I was looking for names, but there's a guy in Kenya called Charles Odhiambo. Charles Odhiambo was the one who suggested the name OSHAfrica, and that was where we got OSHAfrica from. And we went ahead and registered it, and it became a legal entity. As of today, we have over 600, close to 700 members from 40 African countries, and we are doing a lot, able to know ourselves right now, work together, and we now know who is practicing OSH in Africa, and we're able to talk amongst ourselves. And this is the joy that OSHAfrica has brought to the continent of Africa.
That's great. It's just so wonderful to see how the OSHAfrica dream was birthed. And congratulations to you people who initiated the journey. Maybe I know you may not recall each and every country, but what are some of the countries that have members in OSHAfrica?
Okay, we have 40 countries. I mean, let me just see the ones I can. Nigeria is a clear member. We have Ghana, we have Senegal, we have Mali, we have Burkina Faso, we have Cote d'Ivoire, we have Togo, we have Benin Republic, we have Central African Republic, we have Cameroon, we have Gabon, we have South Africa, we have Zimbabwe, we have Lesotho, we have Malawi, we have Mozambique, we have Kenya, we have Ethiopia, we have Zambia, we have Namibia, we have all of them. We have Liberia, we have Sierra Leone. We have them everywhere. I mean, there's 40 countries. Yeah. It's difficult to list them actually, but we have it's difficult.
You have even tried, because that 40, it means we are just remaining with just approximately 12, 12, yes, to cover the entire continent. That's great. And someone might be wondering, how do they join? What are the requirements to become a member?
Okay. Firstly, for you to be a member of OSHAfrica is open to people who are, practicing within the. When you talk about occupational health and safety, there is that occupational health. There is that occupational component. There's also the environment component of occupational health and safety. So you should be practicing within this trio and able to come and say, okay, I have qualifications within this area. Then what we do is to lead you to our website, www.oshafrica.africa and /membership for you to go register. When you register, we see it and we review registration, we approve it. Once we approve it, then you will proceed to make payment of $100, which covers you for 3 years, because our registration is triennial. It's done once in every 3 years, just like our AGMs once in every 3 years. Once you register as a member, we issue you a certificate of membership at the end of the day. But the truth is, we have categories as individual member and corporate membership. For corporate membership, you pay $500, and that means you are an institution, a corporate body who wants to be a member of OSHAfrica. You pay that, and they will also issue you membership registration. And this is how it is. Then again, most of these members are all domiciled inside a WhatsApp group called the OSHAfrica WhatsApp group. And this WhatsApp group, Mark, I'm sure you know about that, where we have reasons for us to learn together. In that WhatsApp group right now, we have over 500 members, and we're all learning together. As a matter of fact, that WhatsApp group is suffering from what you call information overload. There are a lot to learn, a lot to share. And in that WhatsApp group, I've learned so much myself. When you are a member of OSHAfrica and you are in that WhatsApp group, you are going through a challenge in your workplace. there's a task you have, you don't know how to do it or how to go about it, just throw it in. You'll find out that there's one or two persons within the group that have had this challenge before, that have gone through this responsibility before, and they just lead you in. And lately, I was discussing with one of our members in Nigeria. He was telling me our OSHAfrica group, WhatsApp group, has been a big blessing to him. He was trying to get to read about ISO 45001 before he registers for the exam. So he met somebody who actually does that in the city where he lives. He was asking for the materials. They didn't listen to him. So he just said, "Come, wait a minute. I'm a member of OSHAfrica." He went back to the group and he threw that in. Can people help me, guide me on how to get materials to read for ISO 45001? The guy said the moment he dropped, there were loads of materials that he had that, as of today, right now, it's almost like an instructor of ISO 45001. People loaded it with material, and that is the whole essence of OSHAfrica. We learn the materials we share every day on that group, man. You can't imagine. And this is the whole essence. And this is the big deal about OSHAfrica. So with this, we are improving ourselves every day. People are learning new skills. I mean, we learn together. We have questions, we throw them in. We're able to answer those questions. We have webinar, we throw them in, and we have trainings coming, we throw them in. So it's a platform to build capacity, I mean, across OSH in Africa. And it's been a very inspiring platform for us all.
True. I can equally testify. I've really benefited so much. I feel like Africa has become like my own nation. I can get to any country in Africa, and I know that I'll find a member of OSHAfrica. And
Let me share with you. Let me interrupt you, Mike. What you just said right now is so inspiring. You know, it's difficult for me to let people know where I'm coming to. You know, when I tell people, okay, who is around there? I'm coming to Zambia or I'm coming to Ethiopia. Who is around? You find out people kept buzzing me. When are you coming in? Where are you? You know, you find out that I have people everywhere, and you know, it's just the kind of thing. I don't just know how this happened, but this is how it is. I tell people, okay, I'm going to be in a Cote d'Ivoire S&S time. Say, where are you staying? Please, where, you know, I have people that come through for me, come to me and able to. Some of them are meeting me for the first time. Just imagine the ICO conference we went for in Morocco. You know, I mean, I don't know if she's listening here. There's a professor, Taha, I met. I mean, I didn't even know her, but she made the presentation. I didn't even know she was the one. But she knows it. She has never met me. She heard about me. So I went to the MOHA stand. I mean, Moroccan Occupational Health Association. I went to their stand. So I was looking at the material. So she just told me, "Are you Ehi?" I said, I was afraid to tell her. But I didn't know what was the reason. Yeah, I said, "Yes, I'm Ehi." He said, "Oh my God, you know, it was a moment for me, you know," and I see that happen every day. So people just come and say, "We are looking for," they don't even see me. Some go to conferences. I'm not going to do conferences. Someone just say, "I just saw somebody here right now. Everybody's looking for you here." You know, I don't know how this happened, but I'm happy. I mean, at the kind of attention and attraction, I mean, to Africa that OSHAfrica has brought, I mean, our way. I mean, this is for the collective good of us all. And I like the fact that in Morocco, I mean, I saw visibly the presence of OSHAfrica. People that I was meeting for the first time, but we'll be learning together on the group. I was seeing them for the first time, and I like the force we put forth right now at conferences. I mean, we are a voice to from Africa to the world now. I mean, in terms of occupational safety, and this is what we have achieved. I mean, one of the things we have achieved. I mean, within the time we have been around for.
And just to add on to that story, you know, last year 2023 when I attended World Congress, something that you really helped me to get the visa. I had some challenges with the visa, but all the way from Nigeria, you were able to champion. And when I got to Australia, the name that everyone was asking for was Ehi. Where is Ehi? And it's your name is a household name, not just in Africa, it's everywhere. So thank you so much for the impact that you are creating in Africa.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you, my brother.
And yes, and now talking of OSHAfrica, what are some of the successes from the time that you created over 7 years ago?
Okay, it was really challenging when we started OSHAfrica. Firstly, we did our international launch of OSHAfrica in a ICO conference in Dublin. And when we're doing that launch of the international launch of OSHAfrica in Dublin, and everybody gathered to listen to us, what we have to offer, where we are going to, and what we truly represent. And in that conference, that's why when you work with people who have similar faith as you just find that things begin to happen. I mean, that's why I'm so grateful to the board of OSHAfrica that has been around me. I mean, to ensure that these things happen. So we're telling people at ICO conference in Dublin that OSHAfrica was going to host. That was 2018. We're telling them that OSHAfrica is going to host a conference next year in South Africa. And when we're telling this thing, we didn't have a plan. We were just saying we are going to hold our first conference next year. We made this boast in Dublin. So when we finished, we came back to South Africa. I told Tutula, you were with me. Moyo, you were there with me. We have made this boast. Now we are back to our region. We have to plan a conference quickly. As God will have it, we put a committee in place, conference planning committee, and we started planning. Firstly, we host the very first OSHAfrica conference. As of today, that's still the most successful OSH conference in the entire Africa that have been hosted so far. And we had close to about 1,000 people from over 54 countries. You can't beat that. And that was a very massive conference, and of course that was a big announcement. I mean, of OSHAfrica. And from there we built up a whole lot of people that started following us. And again, I mean, recognition started coming forth. But aside all those excitement, we have focused on what are the issues that we have in Africa. One of the things we have done is that OSHAfrica will strategically run through committees. And one of the things we've done is that we realized there were strategically committees we're going to focus on to drive the purpose of OSHAfrica. Remember, our aim, I mean, when we started OSHAfrica, was firstly to bring all Africans within the space of OSH together so that Africans are able to work within and among Africans. One of the key issues that were happening across conferences was that, one of the narrative was that what we found out was that Africans were actually doing a lot of work, but they were not published. Africans were doing a lot of work and nobody knows. So we're all working in silos. So one of the things we wanted to work against was to work against that principles or that strategy of silo working, so that whatsoever you're doing, let us know. Because most times we found out that efforts were being duplicated. The lady working in solar energy in Nigeria and is doing a study along those lines, doesn't know what the lady in the maybe Malawi is doing. They're doing the same thing. They're duplicating effort. Now that we're able to come together, we're able to share our experiences, able to pick from people's ideas, able to put up good pitches, and we work together. So now what we're doing is that we're working together for the collaborative OSH advantage to Africans. We are looking at Africans issues, and we are designing strategy, and we are creating approaches that speak directly to African workplace issues. The truth is that most of us that schooled in the West, that did master's degree abroad on OSH and all have you, when we came back to our regions, what we were taught, most of the things we were taught in our master's program are not the things that we found really happening in Africa. Yes, maybe they were too advanced for us compared to how the workplace is in Africa. Now we are scaling down to see how do we come down, look at exactly what the issues are, and design homegrown solutions, to prosecute those issues that we have within the workplace. So what we did was to design these three committees. One was the Committee on OSH Legislation and Policy Review. Why was this a key requirement? We realized that policies were a big issue in Africa. Most African countries don't even have OSH policies. And those that have OSH policy, they are either outdated or they are not in tune with the new workplace realities. So what we did was to see how this committee could help us review all these policies and legislation, no matter how little it is. Even if it's a trace, let's have it and bring them together, review all of them, see what is missing when we harmonize them. We harmonize them, see what is missing, what is outdated in these legislations, what are the things that we should be speaking to a new workplace realities that are not within this legislation. Like a clear issue is the issue of mental health. Any legislation that was that was put in place before 1990. I mean, mental health was never part of those legislation. So now we are doing that review to see how we could, have what you call, we're working with African Union Development Agency on this. What we're looking for is how we can sign up what you call the One African OSH protocol, which of course, if you're coming to work in Africa, if you can have a hold of this guiding document, it should give you a guide of what workplace expectations are within Africa. And this is one of the commitments. As a matter of fact, today we have virtually finished, we've done over 80% of that work, and we are seeing how we can tidy up. Then we tie up with our partners properly to see how we can do a final review and see how we can bring this before African Union, for sign off, so that it can become part of African document. And secondly, we also have the Committee on OSH Education and Competencies. We realize many institutions, in Africa, were not designed to train or run courses in occupational health and safety. So most people that have to train, either your parents have to almost lose a limb for you to go abroad to go and do occupational safety courses. Now we are looking at how do we initiate entry-level qualifications across institutions of learning, where people that naturally want to be in OSH space, but their foundation was not in the OSH specialty. How do we get such institutions of learning like universities, polytechnics, colleges of education, technical institutions that can offer such basic occupational safety courses for people to access, and gradually it become an entry-level qualification that bring them into occupational health space. And mind you, we also have a level of quackery within occupational health space. Now, instead of shouting, oh, there are quacks, there are quacks because there are no places for those quacks to get trained. They are interested in occupational health safety. They have the passion to do this. So what they do, they just learn through someone or they learn on the job. But instead of shouting there are quacks, create a channel, a pathway, a route of entry-level qualification where the quack can assess what they can build upon and they become professionals within this field. That's what we have done. So within this committee, we also have what you call the Training and Advisory Council, which of course is led by Dr. Moyo and his team. We're designing modules, that we can help universities to launch, which of course speak to the reality of OSH in African workplaces. Then we also have the Committee on OSH data, OSH research data and publication. We need Africans to start publishing what they have done. Researches, studies should not end up in the shelf. They should be published. And this we are doing right now. So we have found out that a lot of people have started publishing. That's why when you want to scoop of materials that have been done in Africa right now, you're seeing a lot of people that have done a lot of work because of the encouragement of the push we are giving. Even before now, we have people having difficulties in writing abstract, writing research proposal. These are things that we had difficulties in. But now, over time, we are pushing everyone, and the competencies are getting better, and people are beginning to fill in. And this is the joy we have. In OSHAfrica right now, we are having data being published, African publishing researches, and we're encouraging more people, to come in. Let's work together. We must push the African narrative. If Africans cannot push the African narrative, nobody can tell African stories better than an African will tell it. But lately, in the AGM, in our last AGM, we just found out that one of the key things that we have within Africa, as issue of informal work, that's something that we missed out. But now we are now incorporating a new committee called the Informal Work Group Scientific Committee. What is this going to be doing? We want to look at the difficulties that informal workers are going through in their workplaces. How do we protect them? How do we help them with the basics they need, to protect themselves? Then we have also set up what you call a strategic program called the Africa OSH and Labor Inspectors Network. Labor inspection is an integral part of workplace health and safety. But what we found out in Africa is that labor inspection suffers greatly because they are under-resourced, they are underfunded, and you have fewer people within that space of employment, trying to look at labor issues within the workplace. Nigeria is a clear example. Nigeria has, over 200 million population right now, and we have less than 1,000 OSH and labor inspectors under the Ministry of Labor and Employment. That's not sufficient. So, and even those that are there, they were just employed. The requisite training needed for you to perform properly in your job, they were not given. Should we always wait for government? There was no need because these guys were already working. For them to be able to carry out their job properly, we designed this program and we set up a WhatsApp group and we started calling all labor inspectors across Africa. As of today, we have close to 200 or above in that WhatsApp group who are labor inspectors in over 30 countries in Africa. And we partner with Workplaces Without Borders and to see how we can train people in OSH labor inspection techniques or competencies. And we did that. We have done, for the period that we have trained about 147 labor inspectors from 21 African countries. And what we did was to give it a mandate. What you have learned, go back to your country, go back to your Department of Labor in your country, and see how you can use this knowledge to improve work processes and also train as much as you can train. So this is what we are doing. So we are still on this track. And in Morocco, we met with IALI, International Association of Labor Inspectors, who of course were interested in what we are doing in terms of labor inspection. So there's a new partnership and collaboration that will come up between OSHAfrica and IALI, and that again will help us to expand the capacity that we have in this training of labor inspectors. So these and many more are some of the things we have done, within the time we have existed, and a lot I may not be able to remember. We've done a lot within the space of OSH in Africa.
Indeed, thank you so much. You have really answered a lot of questions that I had, including the programs that OSHAfrica is working on. You have highlighted all that. Probably my next question is, does OSHAfrica collaborate with other organizations or governments or national occupational health and safety associations? Tell us about that. What organizations do you work with?
Okay, if you look at our objective, one of the things we highlighted was OSHAfrica was born to build collaborative work in OSH practices across Africa. So that means we need to bring people together. We have partnership across many international and local and even bodies at country level. A clear example is our partnership with NETOSH, European Network Education Training in Occupational Safety and Health. And they were very involved in the building of the modules I talked about earlier on with the Training and Competency Improvement Committee. And again, they were very active parties within the TAC, the Training Advisory Council of that scientific committee. And we have partnership with them, and we're working together to improve education and competency. And again, recently we are working with them on the requirement of the SDG 8. What we're doing with that also, we are seeing how we can have a partnership with universities across Africa. So 2 universities we are partnering with per each sub-region. We have 5 sub-regions, so we will have the total of 10 universities. And these are institutions we are putting up to enable us have what you call academic research, where we can also introduce our occupational safety trainings in each of these universities. So this is what we are doing in partnership with OSHAfrica and NETOSH. We also have a partnership with ENSPO. ENSPO is European Network Safety and Health and one of the things we're also looking at is how we can also build capacity towards competency improvement, to also see how we can do a roadshow in policy influence and advocacy and as it concerns occupational and safety. We also have what you call WWP, that's Workplace Border Canada. I mentioned that earlier on. They're already working with us in the training of inspectorate Africa. That's already on. And again, other projects are also coming up that we'll be working on in terms of building capacity within of occupational hygiene. And they're also interested in setting up what you call the WHWB Africa branch, which of course will help government and build capacity within occupational health hygiene space within Africa. Africa doesn't have enough occupational hygiene, and that is that's Asbestos Disease Advocacy Organization in the US. And what we are doing with this association is trying to elevate voice of Africans to speak up on the issue that concerns asbestos. Asbestos is a big issue in Africa, and again, I'm also a big advocate of asbestos ban. Asbestos is still in high use in Africa. We have signed into so many conventions, and when you look at asbestos ban in Africa or legislation, out of the 54 countries in Africa, only 7 countries have successfully banned asbestos. That's not good enough. We need to create more advocacy in this collaboration to talk to policy makers. Educate them with awareness on the risk inherent in asbestos exposure. And again, at the ICO conference in Morocco, the one of the professors that came for the last day, clearly stated that asbestos exposure and the effect, the latency is so much. You could be exposed to asbestos today, and the effect, the health effect, the risk or the outcomes you will see could take within 10, 20 to 30 years to start manifesting. So we don't have enough resources to start dealing with issues that are preventable because we couldn't create policies that ban this. So these are some of the things we're also looking at. Then we also have a partnership collaboration with African Union Development Agency. As of today, we are talking to we're also having a conversation with World Economic Forum. We just found out they also have a place that a unit that focuses more on workplace mental health and well-being of employees. So we're also discussing with World Economic Forum on partnership on those areas, and a whole lot. We have partnership also with Vision Zero. OSHAfrica is also spearheading the country launches of Vision Zero across Africa, and also we have also hosted the third edition of Africa Vision Zero, International Vision Zero Africa Conference. The first one was in Nigeria, the second was in Zambia, and the third one that's going to be held next year's going to be held in Uganda. So these are some of the things we're doing, and we also have working in partnership with local institutions like SHAU, Safety and Health Association of Uganda. We have that working relationship. We also have with the ones in all different countries, and these are the things we're doing. Trying to see how we can grow together as a people and are able to foster healthy relationship and introduce home-grown solutions. Towards African occupational safety issues.
Indeed, we need homegrown solutions. We can see that indeed OSHAfrica has a mammoth task. You are doing so much as an organization. Just wondering, what are some of the challenges that you encounter and how do you address them?
We can never say that enough. One of the biggest challenges we have is funding. We don't have money. I think maybe let me not put it that way. I was going to say maybe OSHAfrica is one of the poorest institutions globally, but I don't know, because we suffer a whole lot. We don't have funds. We don't have funds to do the things we ought to do. The truth is, when you have an association where you really find out that, not that members don't want to pay, they are willing to pay. Sometimes they don't have enough to pay. What do? The truth is that OSHAfrica, as it is, or it has come this far, we have been bootstrapping. Funds from my personal funds. As a matter of fact, I always say to people, if it wasn't because of OSHAfrica, I would have been a very rich man. But I can't be a rich man and have money in the bank. There are things to be done in OSHAfrica, and the money is in the bank. It doesn't make any sense. So personal resources, of board members, is what we have used to grow OSHAfrica to where it is. Now, myself, Tutula, Dr. Professor Moyo, we are all tasking ourselves, bringing in funds. Things have to get done. But the truth is that one of the greatest challenges is that we need funds. We need funds to actually it's not actually run OSHAfrica and do. There are a lot of things we want to do, but we are handicapped. And most times you ask for sponsorship or you ask for funding, you don't get. The only funding we have gotten as OSHAfrica, I think that was a micro credit that we received. I think it was from AIHA or so, International Association of Occupational Hygiene or so. That's where we got it from. And it's there, but we need more funds. There are projects we need to do. We need to be able to actually meet with, engage these policymakers. Sometimes they say, okay, we have to come, let's sit on the table. We can't go, we can't fund it. And that's one. Secondly, we also have difficulties with even the issues that are not our issues, the issues of the African Union. Most times we want to travel to other countries to support what they are doing. We have visa issues. We need to see how Africans can take away that visa restrictions. If you are going to support other countries in what they are doing in terms of occupational health, visa shouldn't be a restriction. We need to get that out of the way and see how we can also work within Africa. We can't travel around as much as we want to. If we want to use our resources, we have so much restrictions and we pay so much. We're going to Morocco. It was unduly expensive, and the visa issue was also a very key issue. So you find out that Africans that would have loved to go, some of them couldn't get visa to come. And we need that to stop, and this is some one of the issues we are also dealing with. But primarily, funding is a major problem that we have, in Africa, major challenge that we have. We need funds. If you know you have the funds, please talk to us, help us out. We'll be very grateful.
Thank you so much. Indeed, this is a noble cause worth supporting. Any organization, any government can support your work. This is a noble task. As we drawing close to the end of our interview, for you as an individual who was the brainchild of this OSHAfrica, what is your happy moment? What stands out from the time you started?
Okay, I think one of my happy moments is when I see people are able to talk among themselves in Africa. When I see people, people from other countries are able to relate with each other. That's my greatest one of my greatest achievements. And again, when we find out that now global decisions are going to be made as it concerns occupational health and safety, now I realize that Africa is now being sought out. What's your position on this? So our position is being heard right now. Our voices are being considered right now, and these are some of the happy things that give me joy. But when we're starting, we didn't know we'll come this far. But I'm happy today. How far we've come through the support and contributions and the sacrifices of all the members that we have. To be frank with you, OSHAfrica is a family. I think we have about the strongest bond. Amongst every association in Africa, it's just a family. We look out for each other, and this makes me really happy. When I wake up in the morning, I don't see any chart hanging in OSHAfrica group. I know that there's trouble, but I always wake up every morning, and the first thing I look at after my prayer is to look at what's happening in OSHAfrica group, and I see that a lot of people have dropped a lot of messages, a lot of things. This makes me happy. It is a family, and the momentum just keeps me going. And again, when I meet people, eventually people I have not met physically, we've been together in the group, and when I eventually meet them, Mark, you don't want to know the excitement. Some want to carry me up, some want to tear me to pieces. When I eventually meet them, the kind of that expression, I think that it should be recorded and made and movie made out of it. People just, oh, are you Ehi? Are you the real Ehi? I said, yes, I'm the one. Some guy even told me, I thought you were an older person. I said, no, I'm not as old as you think I am. But this is the game, and this is the excitement. And I'm very happy with what we have collectively done and the voice we have elevated as it concerns occupational safety and health across Africa.
Indeed, that's great. I can feel your excitement. I can see it on your face. I'd like you to speak to the governments across Africa. What is your message to policymakers and governments? I know you have mentioned one to do with visa restrictions. What other things would you want the support of governments across Africa?
First, I'm happy you're bringing this up, Mike. This is very profound questions you just brought up. I think why we pretend as if everything is okay as it concerns occupational safety and health across Africa. I specifically want to speak to government across country level, government across institutions that have been set up by Africa, leaders of African Union, leaders of all the sub-regional economic blocs. This is the only region that we have. Africa is the only region that we have. The responsibility for us to ensure that people go to work on a daily basis and able to return to their family at the close of business is our collective responsibility. This cannot happen until Africa has what you call enabling legislations. This must happen across country level. We have it already at international level. At regional level, it has to happen. At country level, it has to happen. At enterprise level, it has to happen. We need seriousness and commitment from leaders. You need to see how you can fund occupational health and safety activities within the workplace. We take it as a pinch of salt because we are not able to put a clear figure to what it means when a child that has been trained by his or her parents end up dying less than 90 days after graduation or less than 90 days when he or she started working in an organization. I mean, that's a big dent on the economy of the family, and indirectly a big dent on the economy of the country where that happened. Parents send their children to school because they want them to go to school, come out, become useful, able to support them at old age. But most times, it doesn't always end up that way, because most of these children, they don't die, they get killed in the workplace because of wrong work processes, unsafe work processes. Yet we have government whose responsibility, or who's supposed to be the custodian of workplace health and safety of workers, and they keep quiet, don't even know what happens within the workplace. Most times these deaths are not recorded, these accidents are not documented. We need legislations, we need policies, we need laws that are stringent to creating enabling workplace. We need enforcement. In some cases, we have laws. These laws need to be enforced. Until laws are enforced, they are not laws. You may think you are a president today. You may think you sit in the office of African Union today. What you have to do that you are not doing. But remember, that's what you call karma. Karma doesn't need description. Karma doesn't need profiling. Karma will always visit. The children you have today, I mean, you may do anything, say my children are protected. But remember, they are going to come to the workplace. The workplace health and safety we are advocating for is not for the children of just safety professionals. It's for the children of every person who lives in the continent of Africa. We need to speak up. Until we're able to hold our hands together, we can do this. So at the time you have the opportunity to be a lawmaker today, you need to sit up and speak to the safety and health of workers. You need to initiate laws that protect health, safety, and well-being of workers. We can't just keep quiet. People are dying. People get accidents every day. You can't put profit or investment above the safety and health of workers. It is only when we have a healthy population that a community, a nation, an organization can live in prosperity. Safety and health of workers prospers a nation. I mean, but when we kill all our workers, who are we supposed to look out for? We need laws, and we need these laws to be adequately enforced, irrespective of who is a violator, who's not a violator. If the laws are violated, we need penalties to come forth. This is what we're looking out for, because at the end of the day, Ehi Iden is just one man. I have children, but I'm afraid what is going to be the future of Africa if we do not act. And acting is not just my responsibility or the responsibility of the members of OSHAfrica. It's for every man who has a tie to Africa. We need to solve the problem of Africa. We need to fix this because it's a collective concern.
Indeed, that's a passionate message to governments. And I just hope that message will get to relevant authorities and that they'll be able to act on it. I would like also you to speak to employers and employees when it comes to safety. What is your message to employers and employees?
For employers, I want to appeal to employers, because when you talk about the tripartite dialogue, employers are at the center of it, the government is at the head of it, and the employees is at the lower end. In as much as most governments or most countries in Africa seem to shy away of enabling legislation that protect health and safety of workers, I make this appeal to all employers of labor. Don't leverage on the ignorance or the inertia of government. What we see happens is that employers take advantage of government inertia, of government unwillingness to act on the right thing, and they profit on it. When you leverage on government ignorance or irresponsibility to sit up to what they feel is right, and you leverage on that, say, okay, they're not doing this, let me quickly take a shortcut and get my work done. You may profit on that. But the truth is that when you meet someone who worked with you 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and he finally retired either on head ground or finishes his term, and you see him and he looks like a contrast of who he used to be, will you be proud to say that this man, this woman worked for me and I protected him while he was working? There is life after work. Retirement is the beginning of a new life. We need our people to be protected so that even while they work today, They need to be able to live happy life even at retirement. What we are seeing today, what is done to employees by employers while they work, the impact lingers into retirement. For Africans to have healthy retired employees, we need employers of labor to do what they think is right. Whether there is law or not, look at what is called global best practice. Take it, enact it, stand out because it is a moral thing you have to do. For employees, when employers are able to show commitment, we are appealing to you, you need to make that involvement that we need. Employers' commitment must have a strong intercourse with employees' involvement. But most times we see commitment in some places, but we see employees also are not willing to get involved. If it is about your safety, if it's about your health, if it's about your well-being, you need to get involved because outside these three things, you are nothing. Your health is gone today, there's nothing left. You need to get involved, encourage employers, you need to lift up their hands. Let's see what we can do in ensuring that workplaces, they get safe for people to work in. Because today, most of the things that we see in the workplace may not be outright accident, but exposure to a number of things that we are not seeing, but they are harmful to you. But help employers to be able to identify these things and sit together in a meeting. Let's profile solutions. You are the ones who are at the center of these operations. You know this thing more. Point and signpost them to employers. Point employers to what you feel they should do. We need that engagement, that involvement. Let it meet. Let it have a strong relationship with that commitment that employees have shown. And with this, we are able to build, a viral and strong African workplaces that is safe for people to work and have healthy retirement.
Indeed, indeed. This show cannot be complete without you giving a message also to occupational health and safety professionals, some of whom are members, others are prospective members. I would like you to also encourage those who might be wondering whether to join OSHAfrica or not. What is your message to safety professionals?
For safety professionals, mostly the ones across Africa, and African safety professionals in diaspora, you're also part of us. We meet every time and we talk a lot on these issues. Africa, it may not be what we want it to be right now. But I stand here today as your president, and I just tell you, please hold on just a little longer. If we keep holding on, the Africa that we believe in, at the conceptualization of OSHAfrica, we are only able to bet it if we hold on and we do not allow our heart to fail. It is difficult, it is tough to keep knocking on same door year in, year out, and nobody is opening unto you. But you know what? We will not stop. Even if the door is not open, but we will leave a mark on the door through our knuckles. We must be consistent. But years to come, people will know that we knocked on this door. Those that ought to open the door did not open. But it won't be said that we didn't knock because we anticipated those that should open will not open. We keep at what we are doing. We will not relent. We will not give up. It is tough, no doubt, but we focus on what we are doing. Even if it is 1% achievement that we are able to achieve within a quarter, within a year, we need to celebrate it. If we achieve this about 40 years ago, we won't be where we are right now. Any little achievement that we are able to make, let's celebrate ourselves. It's a collective effort of us all, and we must keep pushing the frontier and pushing the African narrative. We have a destination, we have a goal. It is not a sprint, it's a marathon. Every day we keep building, but we know someday, even if we are no more here some of us will not be here in about 10, 20, 15, 20 years or 30 years to come. But let our children, let them be able to see the effort we put in. Let them be able to take up the baton from where we stop and run and fight a good fight of faith. For those who are trying to join, who are thinking, should I be a safety professional? I tell you the truth, it's a valuable course because when you come in every day, when you go back home, when you audit yourself, you know that people that came to work that didn't die, didn't get wounded, didn't get accidented, know that you made great contribution. Even when nobody praises you, learn that people came to work and went back safely, you did a good job. Or for OSHAfrica, those who are not yet members, you need to join us. I just said earlier on, we are close to 700 members right now. But you know that the more we are, the better we become. You need to join us. Let's build the Africa that we want. Africa that we want is not just the Africa that we'll be proud of, it is Africa that our children will feel safe in. And the step to doing that is charting the course and let our children follow suit.
Great, great, great. And you have shared so much, and at this particular time, any final remarks? Probably something that I didn't ask, or your final words of encouragement or appeal.
Mark, I must say you got everything out of me, but let me just at this point, what I will just do is to thank the board and the leadership of OSHAfrica. The truth is that all that we've achieved today, we wouldn't have been able to do this without the support and the encouragement. You know, one thing we must put clear here is that it takes a lot for people to believe and trust you. I mean, all I do today, I'm able to do them because people trusted me to take this leadership. And I may have disappointed a lot of people because a lot of things that they expect me to have been able to do, I couldn't do as much as that. But they still trust me to lead them. I mean, we just finished election, and they still trust me to lead them for the next 3 years. But I don't want to tell you, the truth is that trust you put in us, we make the best out of it in ensuring that we rewrite, I mean, the way it is right now in African workplaces, and able to show something that Africans can be proud of in time to come. It is not easy, like I said earlier on, but if it is not difficult, it's not a project. It is a project because it is difficult. And everybody that's working assiduously in OSHAfrica, we are up to the task, and we'll see what we can do and ensuring that we deliver the dividends, I mean, that you trust us to deliver as leaders of OSHAfrica. And again, on this note, I want to thank everyone who has been available to be part of this program. I can see Teju, Adeniro, and Cisse. I can see the comment. Thank you so much. These are soldiers, fellow soldiers, fighting the cause of Africa. Thank you so much for being the support. And when I see people like this, I mean, following us and being visible wherever we go, I mean, just give us more hope. And you find out that you have no need to fail, because when you fail, a lot of people will fail along with you. So it gives us the hope to just keep looking forward. We have weak moments, but those weak moments, you guys don't see it. But in those weak moments, what gives us joy, what gives us encouragement to keep pushing forward is that people like this are looking up to us. And we must fly the Africa flag until everybody across the world is able to see it. Thank you so much, Mark, for such a great time.
Well, thank you so much. It's actually the other way around. It's me to appreciate you for sparing time from your busy schedule and being able to share these insights. We are so grateful. And one thing I would say is that this is just the beginning. Today we are just looking at OSHAfrica. We need to also just have certain topics where you elaborate to us and give those insights. So never get tired. We'll keep on knocking on your door. And for our viewers, thank you for watching. If you have watched up to this end, I encourage you to subscribe for us to continue bringing more speakers. There are certain speakers that look at the number of subscribers. When they see that the number is small, they decline. So your subscription means a lot to us. You need to click on the subscribe button so that the number keeps on growing. To you, Dr. Ehi, thank you so much for your time once again.
And my very pleasure.
Day.
Thank you so much.
We wish more success to OSHAfrica. Bye-bye.
Amen. Thanks a lot. And bye, viewers. Thanks a lot for your time.